Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Dave coming to you from the Wyoming Fireside for a Thursday night fireside chat. So, this is almost part two of last night. So, we'll have a little CEO conversation today, and it's really about creating a business. I've had a number of you know, email me about, hey, I want to start a business, but I don't know what business start. What kind of business do you think I should start? So that's what I want to talk about tonight is my response. I've sent it a few times, but I wanted to go ahead and get it to the whole group. I thought it was a good question and caught me a little by surprise how many people are asking me that question. And so I just want to go ahead and talk about it for a few minutes. So the conversation tonight is really a two-part, right? So we can call it CEO School Item 1 and 2. The first one is if you want to start your side gig or get out of your career and kind of have a little more control of your own life and finances, one of the first forks in the road, the decision you have to make first really is, do you want to start your own little business or do you want to try to buy one? And so I just want to address start your own versus buy an existing company. And I'm biased. I started my own, and so I really come from that mindset. And I just want to talk to you, pros and cons of buying a company. Buying a company is way more difficult than you would think because the companies that are up for sale, there's a reason they're up for sale. Either the key person, the person at the top, the CEO or the owner, maybe he or she has died and the company is struggling without a leader, or maybe a number of key people have left, or maybe the market they're in is starting to evaporate and move somewhere else. Maybe the product or service they offer isn't as popular or as profitable as it used to be. But generally, you're never going to find a really great little company that you can just pick up and start running. And so, I just think, we see that stuff in movies, we see that stuff on TVs, but I'll tell you, I don't think it exists in the real world. I've never seen one. I've seen lots and lots of companies that were for sale, and I've evaluated many of them, and not one of them was in a condition that I'd want to purchase. I would love to buy a little company here in Jackson, and I've put that out. I've let the world know. I've told some of the commercial real estate people, and it's just not happening. So I'm in no rush, and I'm certainly not going to push it. But another con I think of buying a company is the company might already have a physical place, an office building. It might be sitting on ground that it owns or it doesn't own. And that can really affect how much money it takes to purchase the company, because you're not just buying the company, you're buying the building it's in, or you're buying the ground it's sitting on. And that can really jack up the price of the company to the point where you won't be able to make your money back. So that's something to think about. The other part about buying a company is you're not going to get financing for it. So you're going to have to pay cash. And it's going to take a boatload of cash to purchase an operating business. And, do you have that kind of money? I certainly didn't when I had this decision to make back in the early 90s. I was a young guy, young wife. We were good financially, but to put all that kind of money into purchasing a company, and then you have to have operating cash. And so the next part of the conversation is you have to go get approved by a bank for a line of credit, and it's going to rest completely on you. You're going to have to sign your savings away, your home away, any equity you have, your cars, your wife is going to have, or your husband, your spouse, if you have one, is also going to have to sign that line of credit promissory note. And that's a pretty scary thing, especially for a spouse to step up and say, I'll put everything we have in life at risk by signing this promissory note. And, I had to ask Anne Marie to do it. And her one line to me back in 1994 was, just don't lose the house. That was her only real concern. Just don't operate this thing into the point where they have to confiscate the house to pay off the line of credit, or that they pull the note, as they say. If you operate below a certain level of efficiency or productivity, the bank will have the right to come in and pull the loan, and that means you got to pay it probably within 24 hours or 48 hours. That means you liquidate your home and your cars and your savings accounts and your pension funds, and it all goes to the bank. So those are the things that I really kind of looked at first to say I couldn't go down the purchase route. I had to go down the start my own route. So let's talk a little bit about that now. Actually, before I move on to starting your own, one thing that I forgot about purchasing is, if you're purchasing an operating business, it probably has employees, it probably has vendors, could have warehouse, could have inventory, it could have subcontractors. So the physical location probably is something you're not going to be able to move. And the question I have is, are you locked into where you live now, or are you willing to relocate to where the business is? Or do you think you're going to go ahead and buy this new business, pick it up and move it to where near your home is? Because if you have to stay where you're currently living because your spouse doesn't want to leave or your kids don't want to leave, then you really are pretty much constricted to like a 30-40 mile ring around your house. And so if you try to find a business that's operating well, operating profitably, isn't in crash mode, is for sale, how many of those are located within 30 or 40 miles of your house? And pretty soon the number just crashes to zero, and it really becomes a waste of time. Once you look for a few weeks, you'll probably come to realize very quickly that it's just not a valid option. And so that was another reason that I advise people to not spend too much time on that side of the decision. So let's make the assumption you have made the decision to start your own business, start your own brand new business. And gosh, probably the most offensive or constricting recommendation I have for you is stay in your lane. I don't care if you have a passion for it, or you love it, or you hate it. You have to bring credibility with you from life as it exists today forward into starting your own business. The second recommendation that grinds a lot of people is do not sever your current income stream to start this company. Make sure your new company can supersede your current income level, and do so consistently, not for a week, not for a month, but for 6 months or a year or two, before you sever the income stream. Because there is few things that can make you feel in a panic to realize you're not making any money at all, and your new business, starting your new business, actually consumes money for a while. And usually when you start a business, it doesn't start throwing off cash in profit for months. If you don't have, say, like I almost went 2 years when I started my company back in '94. I went almost 2 years without taking any money out of it. If you're not prepared for that with some cash in the bank to handle mortgages, car payments, tuition, groceries, utility bills, if you don't have all that saved up so you can survive 6 months or a year, you're really not ready to jump out on it. And you certainly don't want to sever. So it means you're working 2 jobs. And that's why a lot of people end up not doing this. This is why it's the 1%, right? Most people are not willing to work 2 jobs. Your job, so you can continue to make money, in your second job, starting your company. And it means a lot of 15, 16-hour days. It means a lot of 6 and 7 day weeks for months. It doesn't mean having a bad, a tough week, then taking it off. It's a grind. It's week after week after month to make this happen. And most people don't have enough why. A couple of videos ago, we talked about your why isn't big enough. Why are you doing this? And can sustain you through 6 months without a day off. Can you miss a birthday party? Can you miss a wedding anniversary? Can you miss a vacation? Because these are the things that fall aside when you start to decide to, whether you buy a company or you start your own. Those are the thoughts you have to have while you do it. So I think I've said this on several videos, but I say it again. You know, what kind of business are you going to create? It should be very similar to what you're doing today. Just step out and do it as either an individual consultant. I don't really have another example. I'll just stick with that one. And the reason I'm suggesting you stay in your lane, stay in the area you are now, functional wise, not geographically, but stay in your lane, because you probably bring credibility to your new venture from your current one. And so, you know, like one example, I talked to somebody who had created an amazing training program and had a lot of credibility built up on his training efforts. But he said, I don't really feel a passion for training. And I had to write back and say, I really don't care if you have a passion or not. Your resume is great in 3 areas. Start a consulting company, or 3 in these 3 areas. And because you bring a lot of credibility, a lot of expertise, a lot of experience, and a lot of hard-hitting, you know, improvement points or attainment points in your past. So that's, you know, it's just something I feel is very, very important. If you know, if you tried to switch from your current career into something completely unrelated, you have no credibility. No one is going to believe you going, I can do this. I believe in myself. Nobody's going to care about that. So my advice sitting here is start your own business, start a one-man show, and make sure it's related pretty much so that your career, your resume can become the sales brochure for your new venture. And I know those are not popular. And then the third recommendation is make sure you have enough money in the bank. You can go 6 months or a year of this company potentially needing to eat some of your cash. It might need cash infusion for a few months until you can get on your feet. And then try to do it in a manner where your current position isn't immediately terminated upon you wanting to start your own, because there's a good chance they're going to find out somehow. You know, today's all electronic world, so if you post up a website, they're probably going to find it. So just be careful of that. And if you have a non-compete, you know, make sure you're not violating your non-compete agreement. So, you know, am I going to sit here and try to tell you what kind of business to start? You know, the only one I have for you is becoming an Amazon affiliate, and that's a very crowded field today. Find products on Amazon that are only sold by a couple of vendors and add yourself to it. But then you got to find a supplier, you got to price it, and you have to have the ability to purchase product and pay Amazon to become a sales affiliate. But millions and millions of people have done it. But if you're just looking for extra cash, you know, there's Uber drivers, you know, several food delivery firms. I mean, there's lots of ways you can go out and get a second job and make extra cash. But if you're looking to start your own business and create an entirely new career that has true growth capability and might have true wealth capability, step out on your own, create your own, and move forward with that. All right, guys, that's really it. I'll just, you know, as a final thought, I'll say if you listen to these last 2 videos and you really say to yourself, none of this rings true to me. I don't want to start something in my lane. I want to get away from what I'm doing in life, or I want to buy a company anyway, or I just have no idea what I want to do with myself, with my time, with my life, with my next career, with my own company. Then the hard reality is you're probably not ready or in a position in life to step out and start a second gig or your own gig. You're just not ready. You've got to know what you want to do. You got to know why you want to do it. You have to be financially ready for it. And you got to be ready to make a huge time commitment. You know, and that's probably the last point, is if you're not ready to start a second job, this is probably not something you want to start down the path of. This is going to consume every minute of your life. Your spouse is going to get upset because the child rearing activities are going to move to him or her, you know, and for a long time. I mean, you can't get home by 5 o'clock every day trying to run your own company or start your own company. You're gonna miss ball games. You're gonna miss birthday parties. Um, and it's tough. It's tough on families. My kids didn't know me much the first 10, 15 years of their life. I mean, the last 6 or 7 have been unbelievable because we made a commitment. I hadn't lost them yet. You know, Sean was graduated from high school 8 months after I sold my company, and we agreed that we'd spend that 8 months becoming close, and it's worked. Six years later, it's worked amazingly well. You know, Lauren was much less upset, and you know, we have a good relationship. We never really had a bad one. So, but those are the harsh realities, and you know, it's I guess my last point was check your priorities. What's most important to you in life? Because starting your own business and making it work is going to kill a lot of other priorities. So the line I say is, if you start a company, she is a jealous mistress and she detests any time you do not spend with her. She detests every hour you spend at your job. She detests every hour you spend with your family. Detests every hour you try to have fun. So if you start a company, you're bringing a jealous mistress into your life. Just know that. All right, guys. I think that's enough for tonight. Well, that's a lot to think about. The last 2 videos have put a lot on the table for you to think about. I hope it's helpful. And we'll go ahead and end it tonight. Let's not make this too long. So, guys, may God bless your life. May He bless the lives of those around you. May He turn His ear to hear your prayer. May He make His face shine upon you, and may He bless your life as well as He has blessed and continues to bless mine. Guys, that's it. I hope you had a great week, great Thursday. Hope you got a good Friday and a good weekend planned in front of you. And that's it for tonight, you guys. We will talk to you maybe not tomorrow night, but certainly on Saturday. Good night, everybody.